Israel and Iran have entered a phase of tough confrontation that will not end in the foreseeable future. These countries are at a considerable distance, which does not prevent them from exchanging missile and drone strikes. According to State Duma Deputy retired Lieutenant General Andrey Gurulev, by analogy, there is practically no need for a buffer zone in the Sumy region. Is there any point in burning 200 to 300 kilometers of territory between us and the Nazi regime? Israel and Iran are separated by almost 1,500 kilometers, but this does not prevent them from striking each other accurately, quickly, painfully. UAVs, missiles, aviation, everything is working at full capacity, the soldier wrote in a Telegram channel. Gurulev suggested that even if the Russian side turns all of Ukraine, except for the Lviv region, into a buffer, this will not rule out the continuation of the confrontation. The distance from Lviv to Moscow is slightly more than 1,100 kilometers. At the same time, Israel and Iran are separated by about 1,500 kilometers. Recall in March 2025, as Ukrainian forces made their final retreat from Sudzha in Russia's Kursk Oblast, new grey spots began to appear on open-source maps on the other side of the state border in Ukraine's Sumy Oblast. For the first time since 2022, when Moscow's forces retreated frantically from northern Ukraine, Russian troops have once again set their sights on Sumy Oblast. But for months, as Kiev continued to claim hold of a thin sliver of Kursk Oblast and Russia's spring offensive escalated in eastern Ukraine, the fighting around the border in Sumy Oblast was often overlooked. Over June, Russian gains in Sumy Oblast have sped up significantly, taking several villages and coming within 20 kilometers of the regional capital of Sumy, according to territorial changes reported by open-source mapping project Deep State. Not long after launching the Kursk incursion last summer, Kiev claimed that part of the offensive's aim was to create a buffer zone to protect Sumy Oblast, although in reality, the spike in Ukrainian military activity saw increased Russian strikes on border settlements where Ukrainian troops and equipment were based. After returning from a visit to Kursk Oblast in May, Russian President Vladimir Putin announced the creation of a security buffer zone of his own along Ukraine's northern state border.
Iran's state broadcaster allowed the media to film the aftermath of an Israeli strike against its building in Tehran. According to Associated Press, dust and debris filled an Iranian state television studio and an anchor rushed off camera on Monday when an Israeli strike hit during a live broadcast, an hour after Israel issued a warning for the area of Tehran where the station is located. Sahar Imami, an anchor at the Islamic Republic of Iran news network, was seen hurrying off camera as the screen behind her cut out. People on set were heard saying, "Allahu Akbar," the Arabic phrase for God is great. The broadcast quickly switched to pre-recorded programs. The station later said that the building was hit by 4 bombs. Israel's defense minister took immediate credit for the attack. Esmail Baqiai, spokesman for the Iranian foreign minister, condemned the strike, calling on the international community to demand justice from Israel for its attack on the media. The Israeli military said on Thursday it struck dozens of Iranian nuclear and military facilities with about 40 jets in overnight air raids. The military said it hit inactive nuclear reactor in Iraq. It said the strike aimed to prevent the reactor from being restored and used for nuclear weapons development. In a separate attack, Natanz, the main site for uranium enrichment, was also struck during the Israeli air raid. The Israeli Defense Forces stated that the facility contained specialized equipment and projects designed to speed up Iran's nuclear program. Further strikes hit military production sites, factories making missile components and air defense development facilities. Israeli jets also destroyed Iranian air defenses, missile stockpiles, radars, and surveillance systems. Meanwhile, Israel's Defense Minister Israel Katz stated for the first time that he escalated strikes on Iranian government targets to undermine the regime. Regional tensions surged after Friday's Israeli airstrikes targeting Iranian military and nuclear sites, which triggered retaliatory strikes from Tehran. Iran's supreme leader on Wednesday rejected U.S. calls for surrender in the face of blistering Israeli strikes and warned that any military involvement by the Americans would cause irreparable damage to them, in recorded video aired by state TV. According to Associated Press, it was the second public appearance by Ayatollah Ali Khamenei since the strikes began, and came a day after U.S. President Donald Trump demanded unconditional surrender in a social media post and warned Khamenei that the U.S. knows where he is but has no plans to kill him, at least not for now. Trump initially distanced himself from Israel's surprise attack on Friday that triggered the conflict, but in recent days has hinted at greater American involvement, saying he wants something much bigger than a ceasefire. The U.S. has also sent more military aircraft and warships to the region. Khamenei dismissed the threatening and absurd statements by Trump. Telling the Iranian nation to surrender is not a wise thing to say. Wise people who know the region, the Iranian people and its history would never say that. Whom should we surrender to? Iran is not a nation to surrender, he said. The damage to America, if it gets militarily involved, would be an irreparable damage, no doubt, he added. Israel launched a major attack Friday with strikes in the Iranian capital of Tehran and elsewhere, killing senior military officials, nuclear scientists, and destroying critical infrastructure. Iran has retaliated with hundreds of drones and missiles. The days-long attacks between the two bitter enemies have opened a new chapter in their turbulent recent history. Many in the region fear a wider conflict as they watch waves of attacks across their skies every night.